Hey, everybody, thanks for joining in. We had I had shuffled around a bunch of videos, eventually got this time. I am currently in the Big Apple. I was a little heard on Bertuzzi a little bit ago. So I saw a video, I watched most of it. I thought it was decent. I thought he did a good job. So he was tackling Eastern Orthodoxy and the Holy Fire miracle, quote unquote, which he does not take a view of that it is a honest to goodness miracle. So we're going to look at his video, see if this thing um, see how this plays out. Uh, I haven't seen anything pro, right? So I don't know. I don't know what to compare it against. So we're gonna have like a lopsided time here, and that's what it is. So let me get an old comment in. Who knows when this was left? No real interest in Cameron's video, but I'm interested in your response. I'm curious how consistent his standards are for miracles are. Yeah, let's get into that. So I think Cameron did a decent job here. If if that makes sense. So can I make this a little bigger? It's a little sidebar is kind of, I don't want to make it the whole screen. Whatever, who cares? Let's go.
Every Easter, thousands of pilgrims flock to Jerusalem to witness the Holy Fire, a flame said to ignite miraculously inside the tomb of Christ and not to burn those who touch it. The official website of the Patriarchate of Jerusalem called it a true miracle that admits no doubt. Modern Orthodox apologists defend it as genuine and lead their followers to believe them. But what if I told you there is deeply troubling evidence that this entire thing is manufactured and that the Eastern Orthodox hierarchy knows it's manufactured? In this video, on-camera confessions from the clergy who run the ceremony, sworn testimony from archbishops, and a court ruling published just months ago on how the fire is really lit. I'm Cameron Bertuzzi with Capturing Catholicism, and this is Eastern Orthodoxy's darkest secret. Our story takes place in the most famous church on earth, the...
Okay, so if the miracle was real, I mean, he believes in Zaytun, right? Which was that pro-Coptic. So I don't think Bertuzzi would care with, I mean, if it's at Christ's tomb, right, which is where I believe it's at, I don't think that would particularly validate Eastern Orthodoxy in particular. So if it's fake, it would be a problem because they were faking it. If it's real, I don't think it would particularly validate them. That's just my take.
Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, built over the traditional site of the crucifixion and burial of Jesus. In the center of its great rotunda stands a small marble chapel called the Edicule. Inside it, the tomb. Every year on the day before Easter on the Orthodox calendar, tens of thousands of pilgrims pack this building shoulder to shoulder. They've come for one thing. Around midday, the Greek Orthodox Patriarch of Jerusalem arrives. He removes his golden vestments. He stands in a simple white garment. The tomb has been inspected and sealed shut with wax. The seal is then broken. The patriarch enters alone. He kneels at the stone where Christ's body lay, and he prays. And then, fire. Within minutes, thousands of candles are burning. The fire is rushed to the airport, where chartered flights carry it to Greece, Romania, Georgia, where it's received like a visiting head of state, government ministers, honor guards, live television. The Orthodox tradition makes a very stunning claim about this. The fire, this fire, comes from heaven. It appears as a mysterious blue light inside of the sealed tomb. And pilgrims add something more. They say that in its first minutes, the holy fire does not burn. Many say the first 33 minutes.
It almost seems like some sort of ritual, like how there was a miracle on the high holy days, or for the Day of Atonement, that's recorded in the Talmud.
It's one for each year of Christ's life. And there's footage of this that'll make you look twice. Watch this.
Diabetes,
coronary disease,
autoimmune diseases,
obesity, cancer.
That's a
pretty
lot of
much all
diseases.
chronic diseases of the Western world.
Hey.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you because that's the whole point of this channel. That clip that we just watched is the single best piece of footage that I've found in favor of the miracle. She holds the flame relatively steady against a sweater for seconds. Hold on to that clip though, so we're going to come back to it. And it's not just anonymous pilgrims. A few months ago, Orthodox apologist Alex Sorin interviewed an Orthodox priest, his own spiritual father, who was part of Romania's official delegation to the ceremony in 2011. He stood 5 meters from the tomb. Let's listen to him carefully.
The police stopped him, did this control, searching for some lights, sources, and then they allowed him to enter in the tomb.
What else happened during the search? So they had the metal detector.
Yes.
So were they going through his?
Yes, like in the airport, but it was impossible to have something on him because he wasn't dressed with all the vestments as a bishop. He had just this white cloth, 24 hours before this, they control every place in the church.
This is the Israeli government?
Yes. So they came, they search, every corner, and then they close it. They put sigillium. Nobody's allowed to enter. And I think I was the second or the third person that received the holy fire. When I saw that it's not burning my...
Where do I get the cool background music? My production values are such crap compared to all these people. Granted, it's a part-time job. It's not barely even a job. More a hobby, but not for IRS purposes.
And he looked at the candle and said, yes.
The search, the sealing, the white garment, the flame that doesn't burn. That interview has tens of thousands of views at the time of this recording. And the comments are full of believers sharing experiences of their own for hundreds of millions of Orthodox Christians and even some Catholics. This is not a legend. It's a living miracle. And let me say this plainly, if this is real, if God sends fire into the empty tomb of Jesus every single year on schedule in front of cameras, then this is an incredible confirmation of the Christian religion, not just of orthodoxy, of Christianity. Heaven itself publicly underlining the resurrection at the very spot where it happened. And if you've watched my content, you know I am not.
Yeah, I don't think this, as I said, I don't think this would make it completely pro-Eastern Orthodoxy. You wouldn't make it, it would definitely mean Eastern Orthodoxy gets a little leeway, I guess.
Against miracles. I've made entire videos defending miracles, Fatima, Zaytun, Lourdes, Eucharistic miracles. If the holy fire is real, I want it to be real, which is exactly why what I've found disturbed me so much. Stay with me because this story does not go where you think it goes. First, let's notice that this tradition is actually making two separate claims. Claim one, the fire starts miraculously. No human hand lights it. And then claim two, once lit, the fire doesn't burn. Not skin, not hair, for the first minutes. Let's start with claim two first, because I found some, let's just say, pretty interesting footage in this regard. And stay with me through this part, because before this video is over, you're going to hear from the man who actually prepares the tomb tell you on camera how the fire really starts.
I cannot see anything, by the way. It's burning so much. It's not catching a fire. Wow.
Whoops. Whoops-a-daisy.
So watch this pilgrim. She's actively trying to keep her paper away from the flame, but it catches fire anyways. And watch what she does next. She puts it out fast. She hides it in her pocket. That is not how you treat fire that cannot burn. And she's not alone. Here's a second video.
I mean, it's burning the candles. I guess they're exempted. I don't know.
This professional 32 terabytes SSD,
there's a lot of
capable
ads,
of holding
man.
the entire collection of the New York Public Library, is something you won't find at Best Buy or any electronics retailer.
As you watch this clip, notice the physics on display, okay? They're holding the paper far away from the flame, so it takes a little while to light. But enough heat accumulates, and it eventually lights. They blow it out quickly. A miracle fire that obeys distance and contact time is simply not a miracle, okay? It's a description of how pretty much every flame that has ever existed works. Which brings me to the observation I think settles claim 2 on its own. In every one of these videos, what is the holy fire doing over and over thousands of times an hour? It's lighting other candles, like almost instantly.
Hey, that's what I just said. Yeah.
Contact. So which is it? Fire that ignites everything it touches, or a fire that can't burn anything? You can't have both. Fire that lights a wick on contact but supposedly can't singe a beard
Maybe candles are exempted.
isn't a new kind of fire. It's ordinary fire, because what fire ignites has always depended on what you touch to it and for how long. Paper and wicks catch, skin moving through a flame doesn't. That's not theology, that's just how candles work. But so what about the videos where it seems not to burn? Look closely though, and you'll find that they're actually very easily naturally explicable, usually by more than one factor at once. The famous face washing and beard passing, I mean, the explanation is clearly motion. Watch the hands though, that the flame never rests in one place. And you don't have to take my word that ordinary fire behaves this same way. Here's someone doing the exact same experiments in his own studio with an ordinary flame near and on his face and on his hands.
All right. Obviously, we haven't heard any counter arguments. I don't think we're not planning on going into any counter arguments, but this is a pretty well structured video. Lays out the case pretty well. Good background music.
No tomb, no patriarch, but the same miracle. It's just motion and contact time. That's basically the whole trick. Now let's come back to the sweater clip that I played for you earlier. It's my honest best of for their side. But there's 3 things I want you to notice. So 1, freeze the frame right here.
Yeah, look
The
at the
flame
black.
is leaving black scorch marks on this woman's white sweater. It's depositing heat and soot, exactly what ordinary flame does to fabric that chars instead of catching. A lot of fabrics do that. Paper, on the other hand, doesn't have that choice. And 2, watch what happens after she holds it steady for a second. She goes right back to just moving it around. And then 3, she knows that she's being recorded at what might be the emotional peak of her religious life. Like, again, people flock and pilgrim here in the thousands. So in her case, it could just be adrenaline doing what adrenaline does. And then I found something really interesting. I found an unlisted video on YouTube in Greek, which is probably why nobody's seen it yet. Now,
How do you find an unlisted Greek video?
this one may be a second angle of the very same scene. I can't confirm that, so you got to judge for yourself. But honestly, it doesn't matter whose hair this is. Like, just watch what happens. Her hair literally catches fire. Okay, she puts it out very quickly, and then she goes right back to waving the flame under her arm like nothing happened, while the phones keep rolling. That's not a woman holding miracle fire. Okay, that's a woman who just got burned by ordinary fire and then kept performing for the phones, which is exactly what I've been describing. You've got this belief that this is miraculous fire. You've got adrenaline in this moment, and then you've got an audience in front of you that's going to carry this person straight through the evidence that's sitting right in front of their face against them. It's really strange. Let's zoom out for a second, okay? Tens of thousands of pilgrims film this every single year. We see the clips where nothing catches because they're moving it back and forth. We just watched paper catch twice and hair catch once. If the flame truly didn't burn for 33 minutes after it lit, or even just a few minutes after it lit, there'd be a trivial way to show that it was miraculous. Hold one object still in the flame on camera for 60 seconds. I mean, just 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Like, just do it for a little while. But in all of my research, I couldn't find one single example of someone holding the flame steady for longer than a few seconds. In over 1,000 years of this ceremony, that demonstration simply doesn't exist. Now, to be fair, some pilgrims do insist that the early flame felt different to them. It felt cooler, it felt gentler. I believe that they believe it in the same way that I believe that people that walk on hot coals at motivational seminars report the same thing for reasons that are physics and psychology, but not heaven, right? Anecdotes cut both ways, which is exactly why claim 2 that we've been discussing was never really the heart of this story. The heart of this video is claim 1. Where does the fire originally come from?
Man, I guess I'll just repeat myself. He's doing a good job on this one. I mean, obviously, I've taken my shots at him, not personally, but just his argumentation. But this is a good investigation, I guess. I mean, I would like to see a rebuttal, but in lieu of that, he's doing a good job.
Patriarchate's website answered from God. A true miracle.
All right, so if he disproves this and the patriarchy is saying it's a miracle and they know better, that's a problem.
Which admits no doubt. But go look for that sentence today on the official website of the Patriarchate of Jerusalem. You won't find it. It's been removed. In 2018, the Patriarchate of Jerusalem quietly removed the miracle claim from its official website. The decisive edit came on June 23rd, 2018. No announcement, no correction, no explanation to the millions of faithful who had read it there for years. The claim just vanished. And this is not an internet rumor. We know exactly how and when that redaction happened, because the whole story ended up, of all places, in a courtroom in Athens, tested line by line. How it got there is the story of this entire video. It begins with a question someone had just asked inside of...
I just saw a comment. This holy fire claim comes from too much. Church must have everything the Old Testament did. Nonsense. Trying to simulate Elijah calling down fire from Mount Carmel. The connection I saw was the priest going in kind of like into the Holy of Holies on the Day of Atonement or something like that. And now, if you know the Talmud well enough, you know that up until the time of Jesus, there was the Talmud records a miracle that the scarlet thread that was put on the scapegoat went from crimson to white, I guess, to signify that, at least the way I would interpret it, is the the atonement was accepted. So the kind of the priest going in and coming out with spontaneous fire kind of reminds me of that. Yeah, but I think you have a good insight there.
Of the patriarchate. A question so simple and so dangerous, apparently, that it set all of this in motion. How does the fire start? Meet the journalist Dimitri Alakakos, co-founder of a Greek fact-checking organization, and this detail matters. He is the son of an Orthodox priest. As a boy standing inside the sanctuary, he watched his own father light the lamp on Holy Saturday night.
Coffee has evolved 4 times in 400 years. 3 of those times made it worse. The 4th is happening right now.
Okay.
Stage 1, the 1600s. Coffee arrives in Europe.
All right.
Now, before I tell you what happened next in the story, you deserve...
I know you got to pay the bills. I have ads. You have ads. That's okay. But this is a little aggressive in the ads. We have 3 ad breaks within... So it's like every 5 minutes, roughly. That's too much, man.
To know how we know it, because everything you're about to hear has a legitimate paper trail that anyone can go find for themselves. You do not have to take my word for it. In 2019, this journalist published his investigation into the Holy Fire as a book. The church's response was to sue him, and that turned out to be just a catastrophic mistake, because for nearly 7 years, Greek courts tested that book. The conversations, the recordings, the dates, line by line. In the final court ruling, issued this February 2026, which I'll open for you in just a few minutes, the court found that the journalist reported these conversations accurately. So as you listen to what follows, remember, none of this is gossip. This is not internet rumor. All of it survived a courtroom. It starts with a phone call. Okay, April 12th, 2018. This journalist calls the...
So essentially the Barbra Streisand effect.
Patriarchate of Jerusalem and is connected to the second in command, the chief secretary, an archbishop named Aristarchos. Per the book, a man twice a candidate for the patriarch's throne itself. On that first call, it lasted 16 minutes and 52 seconds. The second in command told the journalist, confidently, the patriarchate keeps a careful stance on the matter of the holy fire. As you'll see if you visit our website, we make no mention of a miracle of the holy fire. The journalist interrupted him because he had the website open in front of him. End of the first paragraph, word for word. It is a true miracle which admits no doubt. The second in command's reaction? But how is that possible? Where does it say that? Send it to me. Now, sit with that for a second. Okay, the number 2 of the patriarchate believed his church's official position carefully avoided the word miracle and was alarmed to learn his own website was claiming one. Why would that word alarm him? What followed were at least 15 documented phone calls over about 2 months, all of them about one thing, changing that text, nearly all at the journalist's initiative. On May 25th, the Archbishop himself called with good news. A substitute had been found from an old church publication. His words, "This will not scandalize." Demetrius, the journalist, asked, "Has the Patriarch seen it?" The answer, of course, it has his approval. The website was corrected in 2 edits, May 4, and then decisively on June 23rd, 2018. The sentence was therefore gone. The redaction you saw at the beginning of this video, done knowingly, carefully, and with the personal approval of the Patriarch of Jerusalem. And one more embarrassing detail, for years, the Patriarchate's website carried the official prayer of the Holy Fire. The prayer read at the ceremony itself, the entire prayer minus exactly one phrase. This one. Of the light perpetually and ever burningly kindled. Okay, so the church's own prayer refers to a perpetually burning light inside the tomb. And in the posted version, as the journalist discovered, tipped off by an archbishop you'll meet in the courtroom soon, that was the one phrase missing. In the book's words of the whole text, only this phrase was out.
So it's like an eternal flame? Does it spontaneously start or is it always there?
Absent. Like, is this how the custodians of a true miracle behave? The journalist Dimitri realized the answer to his question wasn't on a website. It was in Jerusalem, with the one man who prepares the tomb with his own hands. Now, coming up, that man talks on camera. I've got the clip. Every ceremony has a man behind the curtain. Here, his title in English is the sacristan, the guardian of the sacred vessels, the man who prepares the tomb on Holy Saturday. If any man on earth.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of Old Covenant temple vibes here. So the previous commenter was Josh was definitely onto something. So, all right, let's continue.
Knows how the fire starts. It is the sacristan. Okay, in November 2018, on the journalist's third trip to Jerusalem, the sacristan, Archbishop Isidorus, sat down with him on camera. And before anyone cries ambush, he wasn't ambushed. 9 days earlier, the sacristan was emailing the journalist photographs for the book. The court quotes his email on November 17, 2018. May I put them in the book, which, as you know, I am preparing about the holy fire, logically next to your testimony. So, as you know, next to your testimony. So he knew exactly what this was about. First, let's talk about the mechanics. Okay, the sacristan explains that before the patriarch ever enters, 2 oil lamps are brought into the tomb. 2. Why 2? Well, let's watch his interview. The interview is in Greek, but you can read the English captions on the screen.
All right, and obviously we can assume that it goes in and lights up as a failsafe.
Θέσουμε ότι υπήρχε και μπαίνει και ανάβει ως ασφαλιστική δικλείδα. Αυτό το χρησιμοποιούμε πιο πολύ σαν...
This is used more as a blessing by the guardians who serve at the Holy Sepulchre. The guardians, yes, they consider it a privilege. As the eldest of the guardians told me, they themselves consider it a privilege to put the oil lamp.
Είναι προνόμιο, όπως μου είπε και ο γεραιότερος των φυλάκων. Το θεωρούν οι ίδιοι προνόμιο να βάζουν το καντήλι. Αλλά το καντήλι που ανάβει...
Oil lamp you light, yes, one also call it a failsafe. Like a failsafe, yes.
He says there's a failsafe in this video. Now sit with that for a second, because why does a miracle need a failsafe? And in passing, the sacristan settles claim 2 for us for good. Watch him describe the ceremony's own historic candle.
All right, hold on a second. I've called the craftsman many times. The cross had some problems and melted due to the flame. They had done some repairs in the past.
What he says here is that the holy fire melted the cross on its own ceremonial candle. So it does burn. Even they know that it burns. And then comes the key exchange. Just watch carefully what he says here.
I don't want to get... All right, let me roll back just a second. All right, the cross had some problems and melted to the flame, but it had some repairs in the past. Okay, we already said that.
What he says here is that the holy fire melted the cross on its own ceremonial candle.
Sorry about that.
So it does burn. Even they know that it burns. And then comes the key exchange. Just watch carefully what he says here.
All right, exactly. I just want to now specifically tell in front of the camera in detail exactly what is happening. You go in, light it over the holy sepulcher, and leave it to be found lit by the patriarch. You go in and light it. Okay. I think he's talking about the failsafe.
The Tempur-Pedic breeze makes sleep
more
cool,
ads.
so no more sweating all night or blasting the air conditioning.
So it is. That's what's happening, right?
He says, so it is. The sacristan of the Holy Sepulchre, the man who prepares the tomb, just said on camera that he lights the fire before the patriarch enters and leaves it there to be found. And in case there's any doubt about what he means here, watch this.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if he was talking about the failsafe or that. But again, the failsafe is still a problem. But we're talking about how it lights up. This phrase was removed from the website of the Patriarch. There are two matters: how the holy oil lamp is lit and how it is sanctified. These are two different things. How it is sanctified after the divine grace descends is a miracle. In this sense of miracle, agreed. Okay. But how it lights up is not a miracle. No, of course it's not a miracle. Oh no, that's not good.
Now, to be fair, the sacristan draws a distinction. The lighting, he says, is natural, his own hand, before the ceremony. The sanctification, the fire becoming holy through the Patriarch's prayer, that he believes is God's work, the way bread and wine become body and blood in the liturgy. He is not a cynic, okay? But watch how uncomfortable he is and how he answers anyway.
Σας επηρεάζει αυτό ότι δεν αρνείστε να πείτε ψέματα? Ως ιερέας.
As a priest and high priest, of course, again, here's the high priest language. What's going on here? I cannot go out in public and lie about what exactly is happening. We have to believe the religious part. As in the liturgy, it doesn't happen suddenly or its own. So it's like blessing the Eucharistic elements. Okay. Hence what Cameron was saying. We put wine and it turns into blood. We put bread and it turns into body. The same with consecration and unction.
As a priest, I cannot lie. I cannot go out into public and lie about what is happening. Now, remember those words, because the question now becomes, what did the institution above him do with this truth? Did they apologize? Did they correct the record? Did they open an investigation? No. They sued. The book, Redemption on the Holy Fire, hit Greek bookstores in March 2019. The Patriarchate and its archbishops took the journalists to court for defamation and more. The sacristan separately tried to force the confession video off of YouTube, claiming that it was recorded without his consent. Here's how that went. 2022, the Court of First Instance of Athens rules the video was made with his consent. And then in March of 2024, the journalist is acquitted in the criminal proceedings of everything. And then comes the ending almost nobody outside of Greece has ever read or heard of, the ruling that I've been talking about this entire time. One archbishop had pressed on, the second in command, Aristarchos. His claim was civil, not criminal, meaning that he was asking for money damages on the grounds that the book had injured his honor and reputation. But now here's why that matters, and I want you to catch this, okay? To decide whether the book injured his honor, the judge first had to decide whether the book told the truth, which means she had to weigh all of the testimony, the recordings, the emails, the sworn statements, the book itself, and rule on what actually happened. Think about what this is. Okay, for the first time in the ceremony's 1,000-year history, a neutral referee examined the evidence about how the fire starts. Not a church committee, not a comment section, not an Orthodox YouTuber, a judge under rules of evidence with both sides fighting it out. And in February of this year, 2026, she issued her decision, number 2611 of 2026. Quick transparency note, so this ruling is in Greek. I don't read Greek. The translations you're about to see were produced using the help of AI. And the complete original document, I've linked it below so that anyone can fact check me. Any Greek speaker can verify everything that I'm saying. After nearly 7 years of litigation, that's a pretty long time, the court rejected the archbishop's claim. And not on a technicality, it wasn't a dismissal over paperwork, but it was on the merits. The judge examined the substance in a fully contested proceeding and ruled. Here's the 3 key findings. Finding 1.
All right. Definitely Barbara Streisand effect situation here, it sounds like. 7 years is a long time.
Judge framed the central question exactly the way that we have in this video. Is the fire lit by divine intervention or by human intervention? Here's her answer. Whether the holy fire is lit by divine or by human intervention, it is proven from the evidence submitted that the latter is the case.
With Rula, it takes 5 minutes to find the right therapist for you.
Life moves fast. With Citizens, you and your business are ready for anything.
Proven. Her own word, by human intervention. Finding 2. She didn't stop at human. She specified how. It lights in the same way it lights in every church. That is, with a lighter or matches. The most famous miracle in the Christian world, apparently, in a court's considered finding is this. It's the same flame as the candle stand at your local parish. And finding 3 is just wild. Okay, remember, Aristarchus is the plaintiff here. This is his lawsuit. These are his legal filings written by his lawyers saying whatever he wants them to say. And the judge noticed something about them. At no point categorically denies this fact. Okay, so follow the logic here with me. If the fire really descended from heaven, this lawsuit was the archbishop's golden opportunity to say so under oath in writing with money and honor on the line and pretty much everything to gain. All he had to do was deny it. State plainly, the fire is not lit by human hands. But in nearly 7 years of litigation, he never did. The second highest official of the Patriarchate of Jerusalem sued a journalist over the claim that the fire is humanly lit and never once denied that the fire is humanly lit. So you might ask, how did the judge reach her findings? Okay, well, sworn testimony, affidavits. Now, if you're not a lawyer like Alex Soren, an affidavit is testimony given under oath.
Is Alex Soren a lawyer, or was that throwing shade at Alex Soren? If so, good job, Cameron. I approve.
Before a state official, and in our case, before the Greek consul general in Jerusalem. Lying in one of these is a crime. Okay, these men were no longer chatting with a journalist; they were swearing to the state. And the judge expressly found their testimony fully credible for a simple reason that she spells out: they had nothing to gain from the outcome. The former sacristan, who served the Patriarchate of Jerusalem for over 50 years and held the sacristan's office in the 1980s, swore that the sacristan lights the sleepless lamp himself and leaves it burning for the patriarch to find. That is, he himself lights the sleepless lamp with a lighter or matches and leaves it burning for the patriarch to find. Notice, with a lighter or matches, that was his phrase, under oath, years before the judge adopted it. And then he added this, read it with me. This is the truth, which all the hierarchs of the Patriarchate of Jerusalem know well, especially the sacristan himself, but it is carefully hidden from the faithful.
Hiding from the faithful it is. I mean, this is pretty sleazy. If assuming there's no good counter argument, of course.
For understandable reasons. Scandal. All the hierarchs know. There's your darkest.
I mean, this seems like that's the with the let's just say kid stuff in Rome, or whether it's Penn State or other football programs or whatever school. It's like the cover up is always worse long term to your credibility. You're trying to avoid scandal. You don't want your old school, and you don't want to bring shame to the church and stuff like that, but it ends up backfiring.
A secret in their words, not mine. Another archbishop, a Durham-trained scholar, swore this: it is neither a miracle nor a mystery This is why no father of the church dealt with it, nor any ecumenical council. It is a ceremony, as I told the pilgrims. Catch what he just did. Okay, for 2,000 years of church history, no church father defends this miracle. No council ever defined it. The men inside have always known what it actually is, an ordinary ceremony. Even the second in command's own words entered the record. In conversations and statements, the court ruled the book reported accurately. Years earlier, in a
all right, we got 5-6 minutes left. I really want to know when this started, and I hope he in the remaining time kind of goes over that.
Documentary on Greece's mega channel, he had personally debunked the most famous safeguard of all, smiling as he said it. They don't search the patriarch. The patriarch removes his regular vestments and remains in the white garment, the white chiton symbolizing the angel. On that first phone call, asked whether the lamp enters the tomb lit or unlit, he fell silent, so long that the journalist thought the line had dropped. Then he answered quietly, the first. So in other words, lit. When he later learned the lamp is actually lit with a lighter over the tomb himself, his objection was not that it's false, it was grief. All this with the lighter over the tomb insults us. It shows irreverence. And on the phone in April 2018, I cannot carry the weight. Now it is late. And when the judge came to the book's harshest language, explaining why its sharpest words were lawful, listen to how she described what those words were aimed at. I'll leave it on your screen. The unacceptable phenomenon of the deception of the faithful by the Patriarchate of Jerusalem, a court in Greece, a country whose own constitution names Orthodoxy the prevailing religion.
All right, hopefully one last ad. There we go.
She ordered the archbishop to pay costs. Now, step back with me because I don't think people appreciate
paying costs is, I think, a way to handle civil disputes.
How insane it is that we have this evidence, that this evidence exists. For claim one, how the fire starts, here's what we now possess. The man who lights it on camera telling you that he lights it. His predecessor under oath saying the same, and every hierarch knows this. The Patriarchate's second in command, given 7 years and every legal incentive to deny it, never denied it. The institution itself quietly deleting the word miracle from its own website with the Patriarch's personal approval. In a neutral court, after weighing all of it, finding proven that the fire is lit by human hands with a lighter or with matches. Claim one isn't merely doubtful, on the record, confessed by its own custodians and adjudicated by a court of law. It is false. I've studied miracle claims for years. Like I do this for a living. I have never seen anything like this. It's embarrassing. So let's just state it plainly. Okay, the holy fire is a known fake, not questionable, not unverified.
When did it start?
Known by the men who run it, who have now told us so on camera and under oath. And two things that make this scandalous rather than merely sad. First, it's deliberately hidden. Okay, the faithful are told one thing, while the hierarchy knows something else, carefully hidden in the former sacristan's own words. Second, and this is what makes it so bad, okay, this happens at the tomb of our Lord.
Yeah, this is based on what Titus Kennedy and other work I've listened to, is this is actually the tomb. So the reason why they do know it's the tomb, because I know if you go over Protestants, they take you to some random cave or garden or something like that. The reason they know is because the Roman emperor basically tried to make it a pagan temple to kind of erase they knew what it was, so they put a Roman temple there, but putting the Roman temple there kind of helps show that early on they knew what it was. So anyway, just to mention that. But so what he's saying is is true here. It's not like this. We know with pretty good certainty that this was the tomb.
Someone uses a light or matches flicked over the holiest place on earth, sold to the world as fire from heaven, and they know that it's false. Even the second in command couldn't stomach that. He said it shows irreverence, and it's still being sold to you. Remember the interview from the top of this video, the sincere priest, the apologist platforming him, Alex Soren, Orthodox apologist, tens of thousands of views, a comment section full of believers, hearts from the channel on the miracle testimonies. Look, that priest in Alex's video is not lying. I don't think he's lying. Everything he described is real choreography, now explained under oath by the men who actually run it. So he's not the one who's deceiving. He's the deceived. And so is everyone in that comment section. I made this video because I deeply, deeply care about the truth, and because people deserve to know it before they build their faith on it. But I won't pretend that the implications here are small. Okay, a fake miracle staged every single year at the tomb of our Lord, protected by lawsuits and silence for generations, that is entirely discrediting for the institution that runs it, and for an apologetic that still points to it as evidence. And to my Orthodox friends, any that happen to be watching this, okay, the transcripts, the court ruling, I've linked a ton of stuff in the description of this video. You can go take a look at the evidence for yourself. You can use any tools that you want. I just want you to look at it. I just want you to look at the evidence squarely and see where it points, because I think it is genuinely really bad. Now, one last time, so no one mistakes what I'm saying here, I am not against miracles. Okay, I've spent years defending them on this channel, and defending them taught me something really important. Real miracles welcome investigation. They can withstand scrutiny. Lourdes, for example, has a medical bureau staffed with doctors, skeptics included, whose entire job is to throw claimed cures out. The church that believes in miracles actually tests them hard, precisely because it believes. A miracle that needs a fail-safe lamp, a sealed room, and lawsuits against its own witnesses is not a miracle. It's a scandal. Fortunately, there's an alternative. You don't have to build your faith on an institution that plays with fire and lies about it to the public. Build your faith on the institution that God is continually verifying with true colossal miracles that can actually be tested. By the way, Catholicism is true.
Okay, this is, you know how I feel about Fatima if you're a fan of this channel. So I don't think you'd be against me going hard against Fatima, but it's a wicked and perverse generation that seeks out a sign. Stop seeking out signs. That would have been a great place to point people to Jesus, as opposed to Fatima and Lourdes or whatever. Okay, I'm just going to scan. I'm just going to scan the comments, see if there's first the Coptics, now the Papists. We've done countless videos proving the validity of the Holy Fire, yet bad faith actors don't engage with the arguments and perpetuate the same lies over Cameron. Okay, that has 400 and something. All right, it would have been nice if they posted something. I am a Maronite Catholic from the Middle East, and you have no idea how big the deal the Holy Fire, Holy Light is here. Even we Catholics receive the light and believe in the miracle. A few years ago, I learned the truth, and I was shocked and sad, and I was heartbroken. See? Okay. Instead of celebrating this, let's pray for those who are deceived. Let me see if there's any counter arguments. The fact that the Catholic Church investigates miracles thoroughly gives, yeah, but I think some of them are supernatural, but of demonic origin. Ortho Bros are about to have a meltdown. Yeah, I saw some of these videos as a Protestant during my conversion away from Protestantism. Seems sketchy to me right away. I remember. Anyways, now I'm Catholic, Jimmy. All right. Saying Hail Mary for you for the bowl. Okay, as a Catholic, this makes me sad. Pope Gregory IX officially declared the ritual fraud. So, when was Pope Gregory IX? That was, you won't see this tab, but Pope Gregory IX. Well, it's been going on a while. Pope Gregory IX died in 1241. Has it been going on that long? I would think the Muslims would have cracked down on that. One of the things that he's using misspellings that make him sound like he's using that F that looks like S from the colonial days. All right. Yeah, it's again, Catholics want to go to their miracles. That's not the best thing to do. Honestly, just seems like a truly nice tradition and liturgy that totally got out of hand. I'm an Orthodox catchman, and is that how you pronounce it? And I always was skeptical of this. Let's see if any. Yeah, there's a lot of comments. I don't see anything except that first pin. I mean, good on Cameron for good on Cameron on pinning that thing. I really thought he was going to say build your faith on Christ. So did I. And maybe that would have been the whole present, but he's big into the Fatima and stuff like that. But then I say, the wicked and perverse generation is always seeking signs. So, okay, I guess that's it. Besides that critique of pointing you to more miracles instead of scripture, that was a well done video, well produced. I have some videos in the pipeline, and they will not be that well produced. So it'll be. I'll do my best with the limited budget and time I have. So anyway, thank you for joining me. Everybody have a good night, and I believe the link's in the description. All right, God bless.